Welcome to Steven Frain Sister. This is Pamela Jean, and I'm with
Samantha Bennington.
and
Zachary Weintraub. What's so funny, Pamela?
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Zach! We love you.
That's not funny.
It is because you didn't want us to say anything, and we got our way. We still, even though it's your birthday, we still got our wish. Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
did just have yummy cake, which definitely put me in a
Yeah,
better
we're
mood.
all high on sugar.
Yes, and the sugar works. It's
Yes.
making me happier by the minute for right now because I haven't had sugar in so long. Oh my God, my brother's going to hear this, and then I'm going to get in trouble because we're doing this whole fitness thing, no carbs, no sugars. Well, I have a cheat day.
Oh, it's all right. Need a little bit. Today, we're going to talk about triggers. And I think we're going to, discuss basically some of the ways that we cope with triggers and some of the things that trigger us. And I know Zach is going to kind of jump in here a little bit here and
Okay,
there.
I'll chime in a little. We're also talking about once you're triggered, how to get out of the trigger.
Exactly. I will start and ask you, Samantha, what is
Dun dun dun. Okay.
Are you triggered right now? Samantha?
I don't know. I might be. It depends on what she's going to ask.
This is so funny.
Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I don't know why.
No, I'm just going to say, are there certain things that you avoid because you know they're going to trigger your emotions?
Oh, definitely. Well, you know this. That's probably why you're asking this question. Thanks so much.
I am so smart sometimes.
So even last night I was triggered, major trigger. So one of my best friends is a pro surfer at KK. She just won the Pro Surfer Award for World Champion.
Wow.
And she didn't receive it last night. But at WSL was last night, and it was located in South Bay. For me, just the area is a huge trigger because my ex-husband and I had a home there. We raised Draven. I raised Draven there for 15 years, and this is where he committed suicide, was in the city of Palos Verdes. So to even go to an event, even driving, I could feel my stomach sink. It was very hard. But what I appreciated is everybody's very focused on fitness and health and goals, and we're all very career-minded right now, so nobody wanted a party. It helped me.
Being there? Oh, that's interesting.
It actually helped me because it was a baby step of a fear that I have, of a trigger I know is going to trigger me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was so great.
So do you think that you felt comfortable, like you knew, because you knew this was happening. You probably knew this was happening weeks ago. So I find this really
I
fascinating.
knew this was happening months ago.
Okay, so you were kind of preparing yourself
Did
for
you have any idea that you might get triggered?
I didn't know where it was. The minute I found out, for some reason I had it in my head because last year was in Orange County. So I just assumed we're going back to Orange County. And when I found out it was in South Bay, my heart sank. Here I am, not even 2 years later, finally making baby steps to go back to see my friends. I've been dying to see my friends' band play. I've been dying to see a lot of my girlfriends. And so I got triggered on so many levels last night, but I actually felt okay. I was so scared I wasn't going to be okay, and I surprised myself by flowing and allowing. I was in a safe place. I was with my closest friends, and who I ran into were some of my closest friends, so I felt very safe. We weren't in a place where it was loud, and it's an award ceremony, and it's not about me. It wasn't about suicide. It wasn't about...
Yeah.
And we had Sonny Garcia that was being acknowledged the whole
Right.
time, and everyone... has been praying for him to pull through because he hung himself and is surviving.
He's surviving.
He's pulling through and he's surviving, and he's breathing on his own now, and it's, everyone's very optimistic. But here we are, Monday,
Yeah.
and KK arrived Monday evening to my home, and within 30 minutes of her being there, we got the phone calls, and
Yeah.
we found out about Sunny. So the next morning, she was on the next flight flying out. But to break away really quick and talk about this for a moment, for her to get the phone call, for me to see my best friend get the phone call of one of her best friends, I was only imagining what it was like for Jay Kearney
Oh, yeah.
to be at my house witnessing when I got the phone call
Yeah.
from Chester. And it was so hard for me. You guys are going to trip out when you hear this because we actually talked about it that night in my house and the next morning. I got so uncomfortable and so nervous. And then I heard Mariah, who you just met, I heard her call, and KK and her were on the phone, and she was hysterically crying. And it just brought back, like, all these emotions. The whole time I felt like he was going to pull through. I could feel his energy being an empath, and I felt very optimistic. But I was very nervous not knowing everything, even though I had this positive feeling. I can't explain it. It's just this overwhelming emotion, and I just follow my intuition and feel. I follow my feelings. I live my life off my feelings, which people say you shouldn't do, but I do, and it works. It works. I think your feelings protect you. But I actually was like, wow, this must be what it was like for Jay supporting us, and here I am in the position to pray and be supportive, and also so uncomfortable, and everybody's like shut down on phones trying to figure out the scenario and making sure, because your rumors are flying too, and when you're in the public eye, when we first found out, I was like, I have to verify it. I'm like, I freaked out, but I'm like, I have to verify it because you don't know if it's false news or not. And I was so nervous that I literally started asking KK, because I hadn't seen her, like, oh, where'd you get that bag? Or I was just saying the most, and everyone's looking at, even Draven looked at me like, Mom, what are you talking? I'm like, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All I know is I don't know how to navigate through this, and here I'm navigating through it again, but from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And then
Outsider a little bit.
Yeah. And but yet I'm supposed to be some expert now. But again, call the professionals. We are not the professionals. But here I am, like, having to navigate, and I was just, it was so uncomfortable. It's so hard, and then it hurts you to see the people you love hurting. And then you don't want to be selfish and go, this is a major trigger for me. I'm so effed up over this.
But I think, too, with your friends, it's important to be, and I'm sure they understood this, it's important to be honest, and they know that you've been through this, so it's probably a little bit of a comfort for them to actually be here, right?
Well, I think so because she even said, she's like, I totally knew you were trying to break the ice, like you were trying to lighten up everything because it was going there like fast.
Yeah.
Because nobody
So
knew
scary.
yet. Nobody knew, if he was alive or not. We didn't know at that point when we first got the call until, KK was able to go up and see him in the hospital, until you start figuring out everything. So we're definitely continuing to pray for him. And
You
I also
actually texted me, and your text was different than the text that I normally get from you. So right there, I was like, this is kind of,
I'm so
what?
sorry. I didn't even
No, it's not-
realize,
no,
but
it's
you
not.
must have been going, is she okay? What's going
Yeah,
on
I didn't
with
know
her?
kind
Oh
of
my
what's
God,
going
honey.
on, and then you sent another one a little bit later to clarify, and I was like, oh, okay, now I know what's going on, and then
Right.
we did the post after that, but I feel like you were just kind of reaching out and saying, hey, what can I do? How can I make the situation better? And it's hard,
It's, well, what I have been doing though, I pulled KK aside and I sat her down and I said, listen, you need to be prepared because he might be very angry when he wakes and maybe be very grateful. We don't know. It's every individual's different. And since we did those podcasts with Toby, we got that inside from someone who was not very happy at first. Now she's grateful because she's, come so far along. But so I wanted to prepare her and to help her prepare friends and family.
Well, there could be shame attached to it.
There
right?
could be quite a bit.
And embarrassment.
Yeah.
Men,
Yeah.
shame and all that. They don't like.
Anybody, like, what did she think
For
she was
men,
a
though, it's
failure?
It's like
Even
it's
more.
way
Yeah.
more than women. Women kind of
Right.
deal with it embarrassment a lot better than men do.
Right.
Can I go back to one thing?
Yes.
Because that was fascinating. You were going back to you going to South Bay.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that helped you was what we talked a little bit about before we started recording is social interaction and how that helped you.
It did.
And I've read studies that it can be some of the social interaction can make you live longer. You know, it's an incredible power to even just go through your day and say hello to the dry cleaner, and just any kind of social interaction can help you get out of a trigger. But how did you feel? Did you feel seeing all your friends?
Absolutely. I'm a social butterfly to begin with. So for me to not want to go somewhere and be happy and excited and all of that emotion is so abnormal for me. Because I love socializing. I love people, and I love the energy, and it's fun. What I think was so helpful with that socializing and going to the event is I made it not about me, because it wasn't. It was about my friends and all the pro athletes and the surfers winning awards and achieving their goals and dreams, which kept me focused on my career path and my eye on the prize type thing. But it also gave me a chance to go be social in a place I have this attachment of fear, to break that chain and build new memories.
I love what you just said about creating new memories.
Yeah, that's very powerful.
It's like what you've talked about in the past, getting on the plane again and again and again, and you create new memories of positive experiences on a plane.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, you can't, we can't live in the past. The past doesn't serve us. The future we can't live in. It hasn't happened yet. And that's why the power of now is so profound, and be open-hearted, open-minded. And I think I pushed through a lot of major triggers and fears.
Yeah, and so you have those good memories. And also we were talking about that book about behaviors, about how do you stop smoking, or how do you stop doing those types of things. It's like you have to replace the old behavior with new behaviors.
Creating new habits.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You absolutely have to. It's interesting because I didn't even realize how many triggers I've had in just last night's event until you asked me. I felt it though, because I've been funky all day. And when you guys arrived, you guys took one look at me and I was like, sorry, I'm not doing so good today.
But then I think laughing with friends, and you said to us you're kind of a savior. We had fun, and that's social interaction.
Yeah.
It is so. I've been out with friends, and it's been so. It's almost sometimes I've been feeling bad, and then I hang out and something's lifted.
Yeah.
And I have my guests in town, and we are laughing, and we are talking about things, and even talking about it, even if I don't realize it's helping me.
I noticed Pamela puts jokes on the website sometimes, and you just mentioned laughter. And I think laughter
is so key.
Laughter can be so powerful.
That's one way that helps with my trigger. And it's kind of funny because when I think about my dating life, it's like, if you're not funny,
can I laugh with you?
No. Like, if you're not funny, you're out.
Yeah.
It's my last relationship, my last husband was not funny. And I realized
he was
not funny, and he couldn't give me any levity. Like, sometimes when you are feeling down, or I can really get in my head too, you know what I mean? And I have a lot of emotions, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. It's like, I need someone to be like, whoa, snap out of it. Or and you can't. The thing is that, and I sometimes get mad.
Pamela's dating chocolate now.
And I have proof. Okay.
No, but I think that it's so, that laughter to me is so important, and it's so interesting that I really didn't have that on the top of my list, and now it's just it's so on the top of my list. I really want someone that's engaging and makes me laugh, because if you make me laugh, I will cease to be mad at you. It's like a magic potion. Well, you can hand me a piece of chocolate to do that. But mostly, if you make me laugh, I can just get out of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what I love about all my friends. And it's interesting. Yeah, laughter is, for me, is a great coping mechanism. And even sometimes, I love the show Friends, and I Love Lucy is one of my favorites. And sometimes if I'm feeling down, or I'm feeling sad about something, that's like a trigger go too. Like, if I get triggered by something that I'm not even expecting, and I need to take a deep breath, I will put on an episode of Friends or an episode of I Love Lucy, and it will make me laugh, and it will completely lift, because I don't have you guys around all the time. You know what I mean? You're not always available to make me laugh. So those are kind of one of the tools that I use. Share with us more of some of the stuff that you do to help yourself with triggers.
Tools will always be music for me first. However, music is also now a trigger for me. So it's bittersweet right now. So that's kind of rough. So I guess music and dancing around my house would be like a really good pull me out. And
dancing is physical.
Yeah, well, I love to dance the way I guess Chester loves to sing. Mm-hmm. So, but anyways, or I love to dance like somebody else blank. Fill it in.
Some people work out.
Right. I love to work. That's another thing. I love to work out. I meditate every night. Sometimes several times a day if I'm really needing it.
What does the meditation do for you specifically?
For me, I center myself.
And what does that really mean?
It grounds me. It also lets me clear my head to where I push all thoughts out and I let the thoughts kind of filter in, and I'm aware of them. I observe them and I let them go. So I see what's serving me and what's not serving me. I can go for a run and listen to music. I can dance around the house. Concerts are really hard for me right now. Concerts are hard. So there's my trigger, but here's my survival line is music. But movies, we were talking about movies, but I am very specific on the movies. I know that I can't watch a movie that has children abducted because I'm a mom and I pride myself in my motherhood and I love my son more than anything. So I immediately get so serious into the movie because it's such a thriller or it's so serious, and I'm
so
like,
many do.
And that could actually happen. A lot of these movies, they're actually borderline either true stories, or there's so many reality shows and there's so many docuseries and there's so much of that reality that I want to watch a movie to entertain me and make me laugh, or it's a feel-good movie or a romantic comedy. I don't mean to be such a chick about it, but I totally am, because I want it to be a distraction. A movie for me should entertain me. If I'm paying, I don't enjoy being stressed out and wondering if the guy, don't trip, tell the girl not to trip because the murderer's chasing her through the forest, and the dumb girl's gonna totally trip, get killed. I'm so stressed out. I know what's gonna happen. I hate horror movies. They're
Don't go back in the house.
Actually, that's where we agree. I hate horror movies too.
Well, and they're like portholes to your soul. I'm like, who the hell comes up with this? And some directors, I guess, out there, you guys are awesome. Stephen King.
I'm trying to remember the name of the movie, Zach. Maybe you can remind me. But there's a movie that starts out and this guy's just walking, through his apartment.
Is it a documentary?
No. It's the movie we were talking about. How my brother jumped. That's how he passed. And this guy is just walking in his living room, and then he walks straight to. You think he's just walking to the window, and he walks straight
out the window.
Out the window.
I know the movie. I don't think I have the right name.
Yeah,
it's
I can't remember.
Black and white film.
Yeah, it's like a black and white
came
film,
out in the last year, maybe Cold War.
And it's like, and because the subject obviously is not about suicide, and it's not about anything like that.
Right.
I am and it's at the beginning of this movie, and I am not expecting it. Yeah, so it's kind of like, and I believe I watched it on Netflix, so it was great.
Did you finish watching it?
No.
Okay.
I just stopped. I watched something else because I was like,
an episode of Friends.
Probably.
Yeah.
I was like, I was not. It was so kind of chilling, but I can't imagine if I was in a movie theater and had gone to see this with friends.
You would have to stay.
How would I have reacted? I don't know. I might have just closed my eyes, or I used to go to horror films when I was a teenager with my friends, and I would close my eyes the whole way through. I would sit in the theater and close my eyes. They're like, "Is that Pamela closing your eyes?" I'm like, "Yep, not watching it." It's like "Happy Birthday to Me" or some crazy Jason Voorhees, whatever, and I'm just like, I'm not watching it.
Those are horror movies are kind of extreme examples which scare a lot of people. But I also think it's interesting how different things in different movies, whether it's a car crash or someone has an abortion or someone's mother hits them, different things can trigger different people.
Yeah.
And I always find that fascinating too. There are different triggers for different people, and you sit right next to someone who's triggered and then you're not triggered.
I don't want to be a spoiler alert, but A Star is Born. All of a sudden, Bradley Cooper's new movie, his new reinvention of A Star is Born.
Don't spoil for Zach, because he might just hit somebody.
But But
It triggered you.
it triggered me because it had such a detailed, unexpected ending. That was like I just felt.
I would have liked a warning on that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I don't know
But
how.
because of both of your life experiences, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
if you hadn't had your life experience, do you think you would have been as triggered?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
not as much.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about triggers. That once you're triggered, how do you get out
Right.
of it? Now, how about trigger? And they might be similar answers, but how
Okay.
do you? Once you know your triggers, how do you prevent? What kind of lifestyle choice or whatever you guys want to say?
Well, I knew what
how do
my
you prevent
triggers.
from going into a trigger.
I was being triggered last
Yeah.
night, and you can't prevent it. I haven't been able to prevent it yet. I haven't.
Okay, I can mention something like
Okay.
I had a past of this is embarrassing, but you guys have embarrassed yourselves. I've had a past.
I beg to differ. I'm not
Okay.
embarrassed about anything.
I've had a past of having relationships with unavailable women. And women who had boyfriends. I don't think husbands, but boyfriends. And so I really wanted to break that pattern. And one of the things, I read an article, one of the things it said,
You homewrecker, you.
I was a victim. These women are using me.
No, men love what they can't have.
Okay, can we say on topic?
Okay.
Okay, so a way to stop me from doing that and going into a situation I didn't want to do anymore was this is one thing, not be alone in a hotel room with a woman. So that was something concrete that I chose. I will not do. It's something that could get you in trouble for a man or a woman. It's like a thing you just want to be concerned of. So.
The boundary.
And it's like if you're a heroin addict, you do not want to hang out with people who do heroin. I mean, that's like a basic one,
Right.
But if
Your
there's any
basic
other one,
101.
if that makes you guys think of
Right.
anything else.
Well, I knew I followed my feelings, and I wouldn't go to South Bay, whether it was to see my friends or to do anything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go until I was ready.
Yeah,
So I knew, and I chose not to.
yeah.
Now I know that time heals all wounds.
For someone who's suicidal, what can they do to
They
not
can-
get triggered?
You had mentioned before, Samantha, and I think it's really worth bringing up, is that if you are a person that gets depressed, if you are a person that has been suicidal, when you're starting to feel better, maybe make a list of things that you know makes you feel better. Just like we're talking about, hi, I'm going to watch Friends, I'm going to eat a piece of chocolate, I'm going to listen to music or whatever, I'm going to dance around the house, you know what I mean?
Go for a workout,
and
whatever
that's the
it
thing is that because sometimes I get it, being borderline, introvert, extrovert, I get it that sometimes you just don't want to talk to anybody. And it doesn't matter if it's an anonymous person or your friend or whatever. Sometimes you just want to be alone. But be alone not in your thoughts, like regurgitating the past. Be alone in something that starts to make you feel good. Because one of the interesting things, and we may have mentioned this before, but suicides happen when people are starting to feel better. And people think that it happens when people are at their lowest. And it's actually when they're starting to feel better. They are starting to feel better so they have the energy to do it. And they don't want to ever feel that bad again. So I just read about that and thought that was really interesting. And I will put that statistic underneath this podcast so people can see for it themselves. But
Right.
that shocked me.
Shocking.
And then it's also shocking, I think we may have talked about, I don't know if we talked about it before, but it happens more in the springtime when you think it would
We
happen
did.
in the winter, yeah. So, but that kind of goes with the same thing of the energy kind of being up and you thinking it's only going to be when the energy's down, and it's not. It's kind of when you're
even know
going kind of up and out of it. So people could be coming out of rehab and you thinking they're all great, and so people aren't paying attention to them as much, and then that's when it happens because they're starting to feel better, but they never want to go back to rehab. They never want to feel low again.
Yeah.
So I think having a list of go-tos if you are that type of person could really help you.
Very interesting. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Well, we've talked about it a little bit, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I always figured that they're feeling really good, and then when they feel bad again, they're so
That's what I thought. I
shocked
assumed it's
that
when they hit again.
they hit again, that they're shocked, like, oh my God, I thought I
I'm
was
sure
good.
that happens.
And then it's such a disappointment.
Right.
But that leads me to something, I'd be curious what you think, because you are a very positive person, and
Thank you.
can be a little bit, sometimes glass half half empty sometimes. And but some of the philosophy and the people I've listened to talk about how life is suffering, that there is lots, and I don't think it's all suffering, but I think what I find comforting is when I feel suffering, when I feel bouts of some version of depression, part of me tells me, oh, this is okay. This is okay to feel. I know it's going to swing the other way, and I think having that knowledge that life is suffering. I mean, the representation of Western society, Judeo-Christian, is a man on a cross. I mean, it represents suffering, and I'm not being religious here. I'm just saying religious people have known this for a long time. That life is suffering, and that's okay. And
it's a great statement.
Anyway, go ahead.
I find it very interesting that you go there, because I would never say ever that life is suffering. Do we have... Life is a roller coaster ride.
Yes.
I mean, who needs to get on a roller coaster? We're alive. We were born, and we're going to ride it out to the end.
Yeah.
Whichever that way may be for anybody, right? I look at life as life is not suffering. We're living, we're alive. I look at it like child eyes. Everything's brand new. Every experience is brand new. So when you have a bad day, at night, you're like, okay, well, that's over. Tomorrow's all brand new. So it's never suffering for me, because it's also what we create. It's also what we manifest. It's also what we put into it. So if you're a person who feels like, oh, why me? Woe is me. I'm so sad. I'm so depressed. And you just keep filling your rabbit hole with all these negatives. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm not worth anything. Nobody likes me. I don't have enough friends. I don't trust anyone. That's my big one that gets thrown in my rabbit hole is trust. You keep throwing all these names into the rabbit hole and all these things and feelings and emotions, and then it overflows. I don't understand looking at life that way, because we're so fortunate to be alive, and it really is. You're grateful. I'm grateful. You go to sleep, you wake up. Oh my gosh, you have your health, you have the people you love. Why is it going to be a bad day? Why is the day half?
I'm like, oh my God, I woke up.
Yeah, but why is it a half full? Because it could be overflowing with joy, and any time this is something that's been a really good tool for me through this. Mm-hmm. I have been cleaning house, and not meaning in my life. I've been cleaning my life and really having only quality human beings in my life that really bring me joy and that I love. And I've been filling my time with the people and the things that I love more than anything. And then I've been filling it when I have downtime, because all of a sudden I freed up a lot of space and time in my life, and I just had time to organize or do something very productive that I've been meaning to get to, that's been on my to-do list. Mm-hmm. When you start chipping away at your goals, you become so productive. You feel great. So that's a tool.
Oh, that's a good tool.
Really good tool.
I was thinking the same thing, and I was thinking also, Zach and I were talking about this earlier. It's really finding a purpose. And I think for me, starting Steven Frain Sister has been so therapeutic, and because it's given me this other purpose, and I really, really wanted something to feel like I was giving back and having a purpose. And I think that can be a tool for listeners out there. What is your purpose? What do you really want to do in life? What are you doing? And it doesn't have to be monetary. It doesn't have to be anything, like you're saying, brings you joy. It's nice to have kind of that purpose, you know? And I think that's missing in a lot of people. That could be missing in a lot of people's lives.
And for people out there that don't know what your purpose is, it's okay too, because some people don't know what their purpose is, and you have to figure it out. So that means try things that you like.
Yeah.
Do things that you like. Be around the people you like. Your time is very valuable. You were born for a purpose. So I like that you bring up purpose, because even the most depressed person, you were born into this world for a purpose. You just haven't figured it out yet of what it is, because you're too stuck in your own thoughts. And if you're dealing with past situations, get therapy for sure, because it focuses on your past. if you think you have deep depression or bipolar, that you need psychiatry. You need somebody who can help get you on medication if it's a necessity. Some people need it. Some people really need it. And then life coaching, what I love about life coaching is that we focus on the now.
What's good too is you brought up fun. I mean, try to remember where you last had fun, and maybe that's a good starting place.
Yeah.
Oh, I had fun doing this, and maybe if I do that, that'll be fun too. You know what I mean? Kind of focus, kind of redirect.
A quote from my mother:
Uh-huh.
"Fun is highly underrated."
Yes.